That's why we're here, isn't it? Because I can't wait for all of them. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be talking about my most anticipated 2021 reads and my 2021 reading goals. Now, I have in front of me 5 books which I am bloody excited to read in 2021. Most of these, there's no excuse why I didn't read them this year. I just didn't really have time. So they are all books that I am so excited about reading. And then I'm also going to talk about, I think there's 6 or 7 new releases that I can't wait for in the new year. It was so hard to just pick a few of those. Honestly, I'm so excited for so many books in the new year, which worries me because I already have a shelf full of books that need to be read. And yet there's like hundreds of books coming out next year. Great, can't wait to just not do anything other than read books all year. And then I'm going to talk you through my 2021 reading goals. So I'm going to show you the 5 books in front of me first. Then I'll talk about the 2021 releases and then I'll talk about my goals at the end. So without further ado, here are my most anticipated books of 2021. The first book I cannot wait to finally pick up, and I promise I will do it in 2021, is 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I am finally getting round to reading the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So my plan is to read the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I've got Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising to finish, and then I can dig into these, which I can't wait. The cover's stunning. I love the red foiling. It's just beautiful. They're quite chunky books, but I've heard nothing but good things about these. I'm excited, very excited. The next book I am super excited for is A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Brigid Kemmerer. Now, this series is quite controversial in the book community. Loads of people love it, but loads of people hate it. I am among the people who loved the first book. I thought it was great. And I can't wait to read this one. My plan is to read this as soon as possible because the 3rd book is coming out on the 26th of January and obviously I'm going to need that as well. So this is the 2nd book that I will definitely be reading in 2021, without a doubt. I can't wait for it. Okay, the 3rd book that I am highly anticipating is A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. Now, I think this is the biggest book I have ever owned, let alone planned to read. This book terrifies me, which I think is why I haven't read it already, because I loved the first 2 books so much. I think it's one of my favourite series that I've read this year. And my plan was to read it in November, then I chickened out, then I wanted to read it this month, then I chickened out because it's just so big. But I could probably read 3 books in the same amount of time it would take me to read this, which is why it is stressing me out. But I am going to read it next year. I have to read it before I can read any other V.E. Schwab. That is what I'm telling myself. It's hard because I know I'm going to love it, so I need to just get over myself and just read it, basically. The 4th book that I cannot wait to pick up in the new year is Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Nagan. The 3rd book of this is also coming out in 2021, so fantastic news. I loved Girls of Paper and Fire. I thought the world building was just so magical, so creative. It was just amazing. I loved the sapphic romance in it, loved it. And I fell in love with the characters in this book. I am kind of terrified to read this because I don't want anything bad to happen to the characters that I've fallen in love with. These covers are just incredible as well. I can't wait for it. Nothing more to say. And the final book that I own that I can't wait for is Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. This is the 3rd video that Ernest Cline has featured in. 3 of 3. I absolutely loved Ready Player 1, as you will all know by this point. I just cannot wait to see what happens in this. And I'm intrigued to see where Ernest Cline went with it because I kind of don't feel like a 2nd book is necessary. This wasn't actually needed. Like, I wasn't sat here thinking, oh, I would love a 2nd book. But that being said, I still can't wait for it. And I think that makes it even more exciting because I have no idea where it's going to go. and I will be reading this in January, as I said in my previous video. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some 2021 releases that I am so excited for. So, the first one is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, I read Daisy Jones and the Six this year, and also The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Both of them were just 5 fat stars from me. They were just phenomenal. Loved them so much. So obviously the prospect of a new book from Taylor Jenkins Reid is just very exciting, is it not? I have to say, I've got a really bad habit of buying books based on the authors or good reviews or the cover and having no idea what they're about. So I have absolutely no idea what this book is going to be about. Will that stop me from buying it? No. And I hope that it doesn't stop me from loving it either. I cannot wait. So yeah, that is the first one. The second book that is being released actually early in the year, so that's great, is Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. Now, I read The Hate You Give years and years ago. I thought it was so well done. It was just brilliant. I loved it, and it's I think it is just a phenomenal YA read. I would even go as far as saying it is a must read. This book is so hyped on Bookstagram, like I had no idea it would be. So then I bought On the Come Up, which I haven't read yet. I need to. And I just can't wait for Concrete Rose because it is based on the characters in Thug. Cannot wait. I think it's going to be really phenomenal if it's anything like Thug. I think it's just going to be great. And yeah, I can't wait, basically. The next book that I'm going to talk about is Lost in the Neverwoods by Aidan Thomas. I am currently reading Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas, and I am absolutely loving it. I'm kind of regretful that my 2020 favourites has been filmed because it is that good, but it's amazing. I'm about halfway through. I'm in love with the characters. I'm in love with the writing. I just think it's phenomenal. And for that reason, I know that Aidan Thomas is going to be like an auto-buy author. Therefore, I can't wait for the next book. I don't think it's related to Cemetery Boys at all. I think it's a totally new concept, which I love. So yeah, can't wait for it. I think it will be incredible. And if the cover is anything to go by, then it is going to be bloody beautiful, to be honest. So the next book that I cannot wait for, and this is a very recent thing that I'm like excited about, is The Poison Heart. So I read Cinderella is Dead by this author in August. I thought it was fantastic. Loved it. Sapphic romance, Cinderella retelling, what more can you ask for? The cover art for this new book was released literally days ago, and I was like, wow, I can't wait. That looks so good. It's very quickly become one of my most anticipated reads of the new year. I just can't wait. I think it was going to be really good. So now I'm going to talk about a few books that I cannot wait for, but either the titles or the covers haven't been released yet. So the first one is Only on the Weekends by Dean Atta. Now, I absolutely bloody loved The Black Flamingo. It was just defo in my top 5 of the year. Just incredible. Loved it so, so much, which means Dean Atta is now just an auto-buy author. I didn't realise that his new book was coming out so soon. It's coming out in 2021, which is just fantastic. I cannot wait for it. The same applies to Elizabeth Acevedo. Now, I looked on Goodreads and it says she's got a new book coming out in 2021. No title, no cover. But if that's what Goodreads is saying, then I can't wait, to be quite honest with you. The final book that I'm going to be talking about is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Now, the Caraval series is just one of my favourite series of all time. All 3 of those books are some of my favourites I've ever read. Stephanie Garber has written a new book called Once Upon a Broken Heart. I believe you don't have to have read Caraval to read the new book, but I believe it is loosely based in the same world with the same sorts of characters. So that is just incredibly exciting. So that concludes all of the books that I wanted to speak about that I'm excited for in 2021. I think I chose some pretty highly anticipated releases, to be honest. I am now going to briefly talk about my 2021 reading goals. I have decided that in 2021, I would like to read 50 books. I feel like now I'm back in the habit of reading and I love it again, and I've got so many books that I'm really excited for. I feel like I've formed really good habits and that 50 books is doable. Another goal that I have is I really want to keep a reading journal. I have bought a new bullet journal, some new pens, some new supplies, and I really am excited to sort of designate a few hours a week to just journaling. I started a journal in summer, but I just didn't keep up with it. I was doing too much and I didn't have time for it, and it became a chore, so I just gave up. I just think it's something that's really lovely and I really want to do it myself. Another goal I've set myself is to DNF books that I am not enjoying. I am the worst person for finishing books that I'm hating. And also, I'm like, oh, I'm 250 pages in, but what if in this next 20 pages it gets really good? And then I'm like that throughout the whole thing. But I just think life's too short. And after the year I've had, I just want to read things that I enjoy, you know? So that is a really big goal because I really struggle to DNF. And then when I do DNF, I don't admit that it's a DNF. I'm like, oh, I'll come back to it. Will you though? So, yeah. So that concludes my 2021 most anticipated reads, most anticipated releases, and my reading goals. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, it would mean the absolute world to me if you subscribed to my channel and gave this video a like. And then also please do let me know what your most anticipated read of 2021 is going to be. Whether you own it or if it's a new release, let me know. I would love to know. Thank you so much everyone, and I will see you again soon. Bye! Gonna have to go and get a drink. But I think that's the end. So, obviously, is the third book I'm going to talk about. Butchering the name. Yeah, loved it. Not loved it because I haven't read it yet. It's not even released, is it? But I just had to stop the video because I couldn't remember the title, and now I hope that it's in the right position. But those are just the ones that I chose, okay? Like I keep saying the wrong year. I'll see when I edit it. What's wrong with me? The outro is the hardest bit, isn't it?